Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Lee Goldstein. Give me a heads up. Type in where you're from, if you'd be kind enough. That way I'll know you can hear me and I'll know that you can see my screens also. So just type in where you're from and give me a handle on where everybody is checking in, and we'll get started with the webinar. So let me know. Type something, please, and we'll get started. Give me a heads up, folks. Nobody's typing. Come on. I know you're out there. I know you're out there, and I know you can hear me. Okay. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Rod. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's get started with our webinar. Rory's going to be here from Rightline at about 12:45. It's a beautiful Friday in Pennsylvania. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10 Minute Trades, and I definitely need a haircut, but that'll happen one day when I have time. The markets have been so crazy that we have been trading nonstop. It's just been those kinds of markets. Tweet markets, commentary markets, really, really great news trading markets. So that's what we're here to talk about, how news trading has changed over the years. I want to talk a little bit about what's working now in the markets, what used to work, what still works. Just want to give everybody a real good feeling for what's going on. We have all sorts of new setups. In the old days, all we had was a breakout trade, and I'll explain what the breakout is. It's when you have a bracket, you put the bracket on your chart, and then you put price. So a bracket is putting price above orders above and below the current price. So you see these little X's, those are orders. Up above the current price is a long, below is a short. That's called a bracket trade, a spike trade, a breakout trade. Very, very popular. Still our most popular type of trade, and they still work, and they work great. But in these kinds of markets where you have extreme volatility, it's very important to have more than one way to skin the cat, if you know what I mean. You got to be able to trade a trend, to trade after the news, to take a reversal. So we have setups that are built into our software called magnet trades, trap trades, reversals, and continuations. And I'm going to explain about those setups. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10 Minute Trades. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully. At 10 Minute Trades, we use futures. We use the NinjaTrader platform, and that's the format that we're trading in. We also have a system, and we affectionately call it appointment-based trading. It's a really fancy way to say we are news traders. We're event traders, but we're not always just triggering on an event. There might be tweets. We might be sitting in the market waiting for the news when something will happen that will trigger our ability to take a trade. Years ago, we couldn't take a trade if there was a tweet because we were tied only to specific times only. Now, we're much more flexible because we've increased the amount of setups that we have with our system. But just please remember, we trade futures and we use the NinjaTrader platform. And it is important because some of the trades I'm going to show you are earnings trades. And people automatically assume that if you're trading earnings, that you're either using the actual stock to trade or you're using options, which are probably the two most popular ways that people trade earnings. But no, we came up with a really clever way to trade futures on selected stock earnings. So we'll talk about that a little bit because I'm going to show you a couple of great trades that we recently took. Our most popular setup is still the breakout trade. The breakout trade is extremely simple to understand. Sometimes the breakout trade is an earnings trade. We had a Broadcom trade yesterday that was fantastic. We had the jobs report today. It was fantastic. Everybody made money. Everybody. There wasn't one person in our trade room that lost money today. When all was said and done, every single trader in our room made money on the jobs report today. We made money on Nvidia at the end of the month last month, May. Big profits on Nvidia. And this week, like I said, we had NFP, the US jobs report. Broadcom was a big winner. ADP also was a big winner on Wednesday. Members are doing really, really well trading with us, and that's what we want to show you. We want to show you that there are many opportunities to trade with us. And it's even worth it to join us for a month just to understand how important news is, even if you're not a news trader. You don't want to be stuck in the market when news is coming out because it can damage a trade that you're in. So it is important to understand what's going on in the markets at all times. Now, of course, we have a system. We have our software. Our software installs into NinjaTrader. But before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's take a look at what happened this week. Now, I would not be truthful if I said every single trade was a winner. Of course, every trade isn't a winner. Our ISM trades this week, ISM Manufacturing and ISM Services, they did not work this week. But almost every other trade that we took in our trade room was a winning trade. This is what we call the WMM. It's one of the elements that makes up our system, and it's the weekly schedule, and it's free. And you can receive our weekly schedule if you just go to our website, www.10minutetrades.com, opt in for the free video, how to find your own 10-minute trades, and we will add you to our free weekly market mover, weekly schedule trade report, and we'll send it to you every Sunday. You can also download it from our website if you register on our website. The weekly schedule is important because it shows the time of the event that we're going to trade. It shows the trade room opening times for our trade room, the trigger that creates a trade. So in other words, I'm going to get into what creates news trades. Well, you have high economic events, high impact economic events like a jobs report, GDP reports, earnings reports, market opens and closes. Those are what we call trade triggers, and I'm going to get into that also in a minute. On our weekly schedule, we show the instrument that we're trading, and we have notes. We stream on YouTube 2 to 4 times a week, and those streams obviously are free. You're welcome to come watch us on YouTube. And we have different types of trade rooms. Some of our trade rooms are strictly educational, where we're not really trading for money because a particular event may not be behaving well. There are some reports that just haven't been giving a profit lately. Sometimes they then return back to being profitable and we start trading them again. One of those reports currently is the oil report on Wednesdays at 10:30. It has not been reliable to trade. So we use that as an educational room because it's a report we always look at, and we know it is going to return to the mean again one day and become very tradable. In fact, last Wednesday, the past Wednesday, it was a fantastic trade. It worked totally normally. So you have to keep an eye on the important reports even when they're not performing well. And then we have a moniker that we call family money trades, where what we feel are the best of the best performing reports, we would actually trade our own family's money if they wanted us to. Those are the best of the best reports, and many of our members, some of them just trade family money trades. This morning's jobs report was a family money trade, and again, lots of folks made money on it. So definitely go to our website, 10minutetrades.com, sign up for the free schedule, opt in for the video, how to find your own 10-minute trades, and get the schedule, because at a minimum, it shows you when to be careful if you're in the market. If you know that there's going to be a big news report like the jobs report 8:30 Friday on the 6th of June, you don't want to be starting a brand new discretionary trade until that news is over, unless you're trading the news report itself. Okay? So it's important to understand how important these schedules are. All right, let's keep moving. I want to show you a couple of breakouts that we took this week because they were great. They were fantastic. And the title on this webinar is What's Working with News Trading. Breakouts absolutely are working. They don't work every single trade. And it's one of those things we decide if we're going to take a breakout by looking at the event over the course of the past 3 to 6 to 12 months. So we've been in business since 2000, I'd say probably 10 years. We've been looking at these data sets, some of the reports we've been trading for 10 years. We have years of data on some of the reports. The jobs report, I've been trading that report for 8 years, been trading the jobs report. It's a breakout trade. Almost all these years, it's been a breakout trade, meaning it's not an automatic reversal. We have a specialized reversal trade called a trap trade. One of the things that we talk about, what if you're looking at an event and the past 3 or 4 months were all losing trades? You might want to take a break from trading that event in the way that you've been trading it. It's important to understand the methodology that we use to make our decisions. We're not looking necessarily at Elliott Wave or Fibonacci or expensive, complicated indicators to get an idea if we're going to trade or not. It's actually very simple what we do. If there's a big news event coming up, we look at that news event. If we've been trading it, we have videos of that news event because we try to record every single trade that we take. And in the trade room, our trade room, we study the event. So we looked at today the jobs report and we looked at videos in the room. So we have multiple elements that make up our system. But before I get there, I just wanted to show you the trade. What is a breakout trade? So I made a short video. Our trade rooms usually last, I'd say on average, 45 minutes. We get there a half hour before the event. We talk about the event. We prepare for the event. We set the software up and we trade it. And that's exactly what we do almost every trade room. If it's a very late night trade room like midnight, we might only spend 15 minutes before the event. Sometimes we'll trade 2 in the morning, Eastern time, for instance. So that's the approach that we take. The jobs report and every important event, many important events that we have in our trade room have a trade report. We have 4 elements that make up our system: the weekly schedule, the daily trade report, our trade room, and our software. I showed you the schedule. Also, we have the daily trade report. If there is one, if there's no trade that day, we won't have a report. There's no event. Now, today we had a jobs report, one of the biggest reports of the month, one of the most important reports of the month, and that jobs report gets a daily market mover trade report. And in that report, we go over a method that we are going to trade the event, and that can change slightly in the room depending on market volatility. If someone just said something important and it's changing the market. So there are many things that could change a DMM setup. So it's important to be a trade room member. I think being a trade room member is probably the most important part of our service. But if you notice, we have a little mini journal on our trade report. 6 months of data, how many winners we had over the past 6 months, how many losers, what our targets might be, suggested targets, a suggested stop. There's some history about how the report moved over time, and it's got some text. It's got some information about what we think could happen on this event. We've studied the jobs report at least 6 months prior to today, and we had 3 winners and 3 losers. It's been a 50-50 trade. When it wins, it's a real nice winner. Now, they usually raise margins for that event. So a lot of people are trading micros these days on that jobs report. And you can trade micros, you can trade in a prop account. There are many prop companies that today let you trade the news. We use Apex. Many of our members use Apex, Bullinox, Lilu. There's quite a few. Take Profit Trader. So we have a trade report. It gives folks an idea how they're going to trade the event. And then the key that I was talking about is breakouts. The jobs report is a breakout. And we had a gold breakout for this report. I'll explain exactly what that means. So right before the trade, our software automatically puts our orders on the chart. It's a 30-tick bracket. So we have an order 30 ticks above the current price, 30 ticks below. We're actually watching the news using a website called investing.com, which is free. We're also listening to the news on Financial Juice because we use their Squawk Box, which is fantastic for news trading. And what happens is the news is going to come out. We're trading gold futures. We're also possibly have a setup for the MNQ futures, and bonds have a futures breakout setup as well. The news comes out, it bursts down on gold, immediately hits our targets, and we had over a $500 trade. You could see that the MNQ, as long as your setup was correct, a very, very powerful move up. And all of the people in our trade room that traded bonds also had a positive bond trade. Bonds shot down, hit most members' first target or second target, which was 15 ticks, and they made money on bonds. That was a very profitable trade for us, over 500 members in the trade room. We got a few screenshots from people, and not everybody makes thousands of dollars on every trade. This was our screenshot. It was a 550 profit, and you could see the move. It was that burst down that gave us our profit. One of our favorite members from Kenya, Roz is trading from Kenya, one contract because margins were raised, and she just traded one bond contract on ZF and made over $100 in 1 second. Nothing wrong with that. And then another one of our members, and honestly, I don't know what his profit was because he wasn't sure yet. He had a profit. He sent us his chart. You could see where he made his profit. The price shoots down at 13:30 is London time. That's 8:30 time. And he made his profit trading micro gold. So we teach our members instruments to use, setups to consider, time to trigger the trade, and we've been basing this on studying that event over and over and over again. And that's the beauty of the way that we trade. We create a schedule, we set the schedule, and we trade on the schedule. Yesterday, we had a Broadcom trade, also a breakout. And the reason I want to show you these is because breakouts are working. But there are also many things you can do after the breakout. Now, trading earnings is extremely challenging. You've got to find companies that release their earnings in a reliable way. In other words, if they don't release their earnings at the same time or close to the same time every quarter, how are you going to create a setup? You can't. You could trade discretionary, but we're not trading earnings discretionary. We're setting up a trade at a specific time. We're then waiting a couple of seconds for the earnings to come out. and our software is capturing the move. We traded Broadcom. We used the NQ futures to trade Broadcom. We use Thinkorswim, their news feed, to let us know exactly when those earnings come out, should there be any doubt. And we also use TradingView Free to look at a chart of the earnings. And then the earnings come out from Broadcom. It was an immediate explosion down, hit all my targets. Again, it was instantly over $500 on Broadcom in a nanosecond. It was fantastic. It was a great trade. And then members sent us their screenshots of their winning trades. One of our members, Langford Ngia, made over $1,000 trading Broadcom in his prop account yesterday. $1,000. Let me see if I had any other screenshots on Broadcom. That was the big one of our best ones. So that's the one I'll show you for today. But our members, we bug them, send us screenshots so we can show the truth that people are making money with us on these trades. And then Wednesday was the ADP report. The ADP is Automated Data Processing. They're a company that does payrolls, usually for major corporate accounts. So they have an inside look at how the job market is in the economy. And we've had a trade around their report again. Been trading the ADP report for more than 7 years. It's a breakout. We use gold. We've traded it as a reversal trap trade also, and it actually worked as both setups. Sometimes we will study a report. Sometimes, for instance, we'll look at the ADP report. Maybe January the price went one direction, but maybe February, March, April, and May the price went up, reversed, went down, reversed, up, reversed the previous month, down, reversed the previous month. When we look at an event and it changes direction in a regular way, then we may not use a breakout. We would use a setup called the trap trade. Let me show you the breakout though, because ADP is a breakout. Look at this left chart here. It's an 8:15 in the morning. We were trading gold futures. The jobs report was particularly lousy compared to what was expected. Bad news tends to push gold up. Gold pushed up. We were able to move our stop to safety, increase the size of our target, trail up as price moved up, and we had a really excellent profitable trade trading gold. But we also know the history of this report, it often reverses. So I also traded a trap trade in a different prop account, and I was comfortable this trade would reverse. Now it took its sweet time, but when all was said and done, we also had a profit in our second prop account trading the change in direction on the ADP report. Again, what allows us to make these decisions and not panic when we're waiting with a loss on the screen, but we're not out of the trade. We may be waiting for that reversal that we are comfortable it will take place because our research shows it. And we're never just guessing. We create what we call a spike sheet for any report that we think may have a reversal. So let me give you an idea of what a spike sheet is. So we also traded the ECB refi rate this week, and we created a spike sheet for that report. Let me see if I have it. Give me half a second here. If I can't find that spike sheet, I'll just show you a regular spike sheet. A spike sheet is what we use to track how much the report moved every time the trade took place. And if that spike sheet is reliably consistent, so this was our ADP spike sheet using the ES. We tested the ES, and every time the report took place, we track how much the ES moved. 22 ticks, 14, 51, very different from 22, 13, 32, 20. If we get consistency, we can set up a trade because we also track how many ticks of a reversal was there. We can set up a trade comfortably believing there will be a change in direction. And we do that with many setups. One of our most popular trap trade setups. What's a trap trade? A trap trade is when we study an event, we look at that event's price action. The price action shows us over and over that it reverses fairly quickly after the news is released. And our goal is rather than try and grab a burst or a drop, we're making money on the reversal. So watch the last FOMC statement that we traded. This was a phenomenal trap trade. We had multiple setups for this trade. We had an NQ breakout and we have an ES trap trade. Our ES trap trade on this report had 2 years of data that looked like a winning trade every session. So for the past 3 sessions, we've been trading the ES on the FOMC statement. This trade was at the beginning of May, and watch what happened. In the middle here, our trap trade puts 2 orders above the current price, 2 orders below the current price. If the market goes up, we sell the market. If the market goes down, we buy the market. What happened here, the market went down, we bought the market, and instantly it reversed, and we had over $800 in profit because the FOMC statement is often a very, very fast moving trade. And then something interesting happened as well that we were able to take advantage of. So our software has setups built into it, breakout setups, trap trade setups, which is a specialized reversal. Then we also have a discretionary reversal continuation setup. That's become one of our most popular types of setups these days. When the markets are extremely volatile, you can enter the market in any direction just by pressing a long or a short button that our software puts on the chart. But it also controls your target, your stop, and it makes the trade as safe as possible because our software is an ATM. It's an automated trade manager. You don't have to learn a programming language, for instance, that's part of most platforms to tell your trade what to do. You know, where you want to move your stop. Do you want to move your stop? Are you going to trail your stops? Where should the targets go? These are things that our software does, and we set it up to do it before the trade. But we also have a reversal trade, and in our reversal or continuation trade, all we do to enter the market is press a button, but it's a safe trade because it has a stop and a target, so you're never trading in an unsafe manner without stops, targets, and a risk profile. That's the key. You want to trade with risk profiles on any trade that you take. So after that FOMC profit, we noticed it really looked like this market was going to make a new low. It had been selling off before the news, and it didn't really go up all that much after the news. It started selling off again. So we took that discretionary trade on the ES, looking for a test of the low or somewhere in that direction. And we actually doubled our $800 breakout. Sorry, we doubled our $800 trap trade profit on our reversal trade by trading another trade after the news using our reversal continuation setup. And that wasn't in SIM, it was in our prop account, and that's it right here on the screen. We were able to trail and continue trailing, increase the size of our target, and all of those things can be very easily done just by moving the orders on the chart because NinjaTrader supports chart trading. So we trailed as long as we could. Eventually, in that type of a trade, the market will change direction on you and it'll hit your stop that's in a very profitable place by the time it hits it. That's the idea of a reversal continuation. You want to put the trade on after you go into profit. You want to bring your stop into a safe area. And the perfect trail, the perfect reversal continuation trade is when you have the ability to increase your target and keep trailing your stop in the direction of the price as it moves into a bigger and bigger profit. So watch that one more time. We noticed that it looked like there would be a great test of the low, which is that red line. We immediately pressed the instant short button, which our software put on the chart. We went into profit. I then moved my stop to safety. Safety means I moved my stop break even plus profit plus multiple ticks. And then price kept going in our direction. I was able to keep trailing. I realized we're probably going to go through the low. Let's make the target bigger and see if we could keep trailing. And that's what we did in that trade. And it was a fantastic reversal continuation. Now, what was interesting in today's jobs report, let me show you our trade. After our breakout trade was over, we had 2 additional trades. The news was extremely good. And we took a couple of quick scalps. So our software has the ability to take scalps. What's a scalp? It puts orders and stops on the chart. Right there, I made a couple of bucks. I actually made a mistake and made money by accident on that trade. That's a whole other story. Then I took a second trade long and the market cooperated. I was trading micros. I just pressed the long button and watched because we felt the market was going to continue up because of the quality of the news today. Gold was going down. That's a sign that the indexes should continue going up. They pulled back. Bonds were continuing down. So we felt we had a very good opportunity to take another scalp trade on the MNQ. It's going to take a second. Our software is going to, there's the orders on the chart. It immediately shoots through my target, number 1, moves the stop to safety, and hits the second target. So we took 2 scalp trades after the news today, and if we didn't develop this new reversal continuation setup, we wouldn't have a way to take these trades. So we have a system. We're not just trading randomly when a news event comes out. Our software, we call it JOBB News Trader. We have the 4 elements of our system: the weekly market mover schedule, the daily market mover trade report, trade room access, and our news trader software. I showed you our weekly schedule that you can get for free. I showed you reverse continuation trades. I showed you breakout trades. Our software is a custom strategy add-on to NinjaTrader. It has multiple setups. It automates your trade entries if you want them automated. It automates where your targets are going to show up, and it can automate your stops. It's a super ATM. So you don't have to learn, like I was saying before, the program language that's built into most platforms for controlling your trade. What triggers these trades are 3 main categories: high impact economic reports, big company earnings, market opens and closes. One of the big things our members have been trading these days are open and close trades, in particular end of the day trades. Here's a trade we took before NVIDIA earnings. This was recent, like 3 weeks ago. We were in the room for NVIDIA earnings and we decided, Let's take an end of the day trade. We have a setup for the NQ. Our software put our orders on the chart. The news, not news, but there's a certain move that we expect at a certain time of day as the market gets ready to close. Now it goes through both my targets. That was a $500 winning trade on the end of the day trade. That was right before we then took a breakout on NVIDIA earnings and made $1,100 on NVIDIA earnings. That was $1,600 in profit that we made in our prop account in less than an hour, trading two events that we know when they're going to take place. So market opens and closes are great to trade. One of our members made $290 trading the market open and close yesterday. He sent us his screenshot and he made, I think it was $800. Let's look at the screenshot that he sent us the previous, that NVIDIA day. Let me grab his screenshot for that one. Give me a second. $820 profit. One of our members, Doc from the Villages, who has a lot of great trades, he made $820 on that end of the day trade. And many of our members have multiple different end of the day trades that we trade. Okay, there's hundreds of triggers within these categories. And that means there's hundreds of possible trades. We find these categories of trades, and I'm not going to go through webinars that we have given over and over again, but I just want everyone to know where we find these trades. But we have many webinars online if you just go to our YouTube channel, 10-minute trades, and you can watch our webinars that are open and live on, finding trade setups. We use Forex Factory, Investing.com, Trading Economics. All of their sites have events, and they code their events either by color. Red are very impactful, orange less impactful for Forex Factory. But that's where and how we find the events that we're going to trade. Not all of them. Sometimes we're listening to the Financial Jews Squawk Box, and that's a very good system for trading events and finding events to trade. Now, one of the final events that we're going to talk about, final ways of trading events, is the magnet trade. What if testing shows that breakouts are not working, reversals haven't been that great? There's still setups that you can choose to trade these events. I've showed you the trap. I've showed you reverse continuations. One of our favorite settings is a magnet trade. The magnet trade is real simple. Something interesting's taking place right now at this moment. We're in a live live market. We have a setup called the magnet trade. It's automated for high of day, low of day. Now, I don't know that this trade is going to work, but I'll take a shot trading micro gold that we're going to get a magnet trade. I'll trade it in my prop account. No matter what, it's not going to break me. It's not going to kill me if it doesn't work. But I'll show you a real magnet trade because there's one it really looks like there's a chance it could set up. Now, I don't have to take it immediately. The magnet trade puts my order on the chart. This thick line is my entry. The magnet is my exit. We have a setup that uses high of day, low of day to trade. I could also automate this trade. We have a magnet entry button. If I press that button and turn it purple, the trade is automatic. And when we get to the thick line, it will put me in the trade. I could also press my Enter Now button. If I think the market is exploding down towards the magnet, I can press Enter Now, bypass all of the bypass all of the setup and calculations and just enter the market discretionary. So there's three ways to enter a magnet. Automated, Enter Now, wait for the magnet to take place. It gives us an audio alert, and turns the entry button purple, and then I can press the button to enter the trade. So let's talk about what a magnet trade is. When you look at charts, you will see areas on the charts that dozens and hundreds of traders, thousands, all look at certain areas that are very popular. Traders look at the VWAP. I have a VWAP on all my charts. The MNQ is getting ready to test the VWAP. That's a potential custom magnet trade. So we have two types of magnet trades. We have the custom magnet and we have the high of day, low of day automated magnet system. The custom magnet is extremely easy. I'm going to get rid of my scalp trades. I'm not going to take a scalp during this webinar. But it's interesting. I have maybe a VWAP magnet if the NQ decides to go down, which I would not take that trade today because it's so darn bullish. Okay, that would not be the trade that I would be interested in. But there's also a pivot trade that might be getting ready to take place. There's an R1 pivot. It's actually probably we're too late. It's already going to test it. Why is the pivot a magnet? R1 is a magnet, and it's a little hard for me to see if that's R1. Yeah, it is R1 because thousands of traders look at that level. They place their orders around that level, and what happens is the price pulls orders. There's so many orders there. The orders pull the price into that area. So we wrote a program that looks at the magnet, and that's our exit. So we wrote a program that you could set up a simple trade to exit at that pivot. I would set up a magnet trade by clicking the magnet trade software. In this case, it's custom because I want to put a special price in. So I just choose custom level. I look at the price, it's 21798. That's all I have to type in. Custom 21798. Now watch what happens. I can add a position if I want to, and I can make a bigger stop because it's micros. Now look, the price happens to be dropping, but we'll ignore that for the moment. I can then just apply the trade, okay it, turn it on. I get a thick line at the magnet. Remember what I said, the magnet is our exit. I want to get filled before the exit. So I move my entry to an area where I think there's a good possibility of getting filled, and when the trade changes direction, when the price action changes direction, it will fill me when it gets to this area. If it doesn't change direction, no problem. I just don't have a trade. I could make that an automatic trade. I could make it long only by turning off the short. I could enter the trade right now by pressing enter now. I'm not going to do that because the market changed just as I was setting up the trade. I would turn this trade off. I don't think it makes sense, okay? Right now, it would have been better if we would have realized we didn't know the market was going to go short all of a sudden. The VWAP, look at that. The VWAP got tested. If you were thinking, let's look for a retrace at the VWAP, you could have set up a VWAP custom level test. Why is the VWAP a magnet? Again, thousands and thousands of traders watch the VWAP over and over and over, just like they watch the high of day and the low of day. So we have magnets where if price goes to the high or the low, we can set it up automatic. If it's purple, we could wait for the software to give us an audio alert when it hits the order. We could then press the order button, or I could enter right now and it will take me in the direction that I have chosen on the chart. That's the way I recommend you use enter now. Make sure you have a direction chosen so there's never any confusion about what direction you might be taking a trade if you have multiple setups on the screen. That's what a magnet trade is. Let me show you a couple of magnets that actually worked very nicely. We've taken dozens and dozens and dozens of magnet trades in our trade room. And we've taught our members, of course, how to trade the magnet trade. It's a key setup that we use. It's great for prop accounts because it's a system. When Apex asks you, what's your system of trading? You can explain to them, when the market gets to a high or it gets to a low, I have a setup where I trade 10 ticks before the market gets to a high. They love that because it's an intelligent, controlled setup. Here it is. We got filled before the magnet pulled price. Watch what happens. The magnet's going to literally pull our price into the high of day. Look, it pulled back. Was I panicking? No, because we were in an upward trend. And there it goes. Hit the first target. You could move your stop to safety if you want to. It's going to hit the second target. Boom. A perfect magnet trade trading gold. Any instrument can be used for a magnet trade because every instrument has pivots, highs of days, lows of days, VWAPs. If you love Fibonacci's, set up a custom level around your Fibonacci's. If you want to use any other indicator that you think is a spectacular indicator to use, go ahead, make my day and to use the indicator you like the best. That's our magnet trade setup. Extremely easy to set up, easy to use, powerful. And all day long, magnets test levels. So if you like to sit in front of your charts during the busy times of day, 8 to 10 in the morning, 8 to 10:30, guaranteed you're going to have multiple magnet trades on different setups, different instruments that you can trade. Can our software scalp? Absolutely. If you're just watching the markets and you want to set up a scalp trade, it's so easy with our software to set up a scalp. I just right click on strategies. I can set up a reverse continue, and I'm going to get rid of my magnet trade setup so there's less confusion in the control panel. Let me get rid of it. I could set up a scalp trade in literally about a minute. I just choose reverse continuation. All you need for a scalp trade is a number of positions. It could be 1 or 2 targets and a stop. And then you can apply it, okay it. I like to label my trades, okay? So I call it a scalp, S-C-A-L-P. All right? Hang on a second. Let me change something because something crazy has been going on with my computer this morning. Let me just re-add it. So set up the scalp, click the strategy, click news trader, reverse continue. I've got 2 positions, I've got targets, apply it, okay it. Now when I enable it, I'm testing this in sim because I'm not scalping right now. I haven't really been watching the markets. I'm preparing for this webinar. I've got a long button and a short button. Maybe, just maybe, 1 second ago, somebody tweeted that the tariffs are being increased to 800%. What do you think's going to happen? The market's going to go short. I can put myself in the market short by clicking the instant short button. I can also increase my stop, shrink my stop, increase my target to get it down to the low of the day. I happen to catch this direction correctly. I'm in profit right now. If I want, I could move my order up and see if it'll take me out of the trade with a profit. Or I could just wait and see if my scalp is going to work out. It took me 30 seconds to set up a scalp. Our software is easy to use, powerful, and our setups are as safe as they can be. You have stops, you have targets, you're trading intelligently, and they're easy to do. I can close that trade by just hitting the close button. I can close the trade by waiting for my targets to be hit. When you use our software, when you click on strategy, built into our software are different setups. We have advanced trade types and we have our most popular trade types. Breakouts, range trades. You could set up a trade using time. What if you want to trade from 9:30 to 10 o'clock in the morning and set up a trade that bursts out of the range of a 30-minute range? You can do that. You can trade zones, trap trades, reversal trades. We have our earnings trades, all sorts of setups built into our software. We teach you how to use our software and the setups in our trade room. So let me finish up, folks. Rory's going to want to get cracking. I want to thank you all for watching. Here's the deal I'm going to make for everyone today. Wouldn't you love to join us for all of our upcoming news and earnings and Magnet Trade trade rooms? You'll get access to our software, trade room, our daily reports, the weekly schedule, every daily market mover that we have. You know, they're worth a ton of money because you're getting winning trade setups. You'll get to come into our trade room every day that there's an event. We're in our trade room 4 to 5 times a week. You get our trap trade software. You'll get the magnet trade software, reversal continuations. You can trade in a prop account. You could trade in a cash account. We're just charging $20.25 for a 30-day trial. It renews at $97. If you want to cancel before it renews, you just send an email to help@10minutetrades.com. No big deal if you don't want to continue, but $20.25. You can test out our whole system, www.gopro25.com. Expires Sunday at midnight. We'd love to have you join us. You'll see all of the things I talked about just now, www.gopro25.com. You'll get our News Trader software suite, all the setups, the Magnet Trade strategy, the Trap Trade strategy. You'll learn how to trade appointment-based trading in our trade room. You'll learn to choose the best events to trade, how to trade selected stock earnings, trade on a schedule. Those are all the things that I will guide you to learn in our trade room. Just $20.25, www.gopro25.com. You'll learn all about our family money trades, what we consider to be the best of these reports. Let me see if there's any questions. I want to thank everybody for joining. How do you know a funder that allows news trading? Because our members, some of them are being paid, Michael, and they're using accounts in our trade room and we trade with Lilu and Apex and Bullinox. They do allow this type of trading. So that's the deal. They have rules. You have to follow their rules. They have rules if you're a discretionary trader. They have rules if you're a news trader. They have rules, plenty of rules, because prop trading is filled with rules. So you'll get the Magnet Trade software, our live trading room, our News Trader software, a teacher who cares, because I really care. This offer expires Sunday at midnight, so just go to www.gopro25.com. No matter what, you're going to learn how to trade using events, trade on a schedule. Whether you want to trade this way or not, it's a great amount of knowledge. Way more than $20.25 worth of knowledge. You're going to learn how to keep yourself during the news, keep yourself safe. It's a fantastic way to trade, and it's a fantastic methodology to add to any other system that you might be using. So folks, I've gone way over my time. www.gopro25.com. We'd love to have you sign up. And Rory, I'm going to leave it up to you. Can you hear me? Thanks for inviting me today, Rory. It was a pleasure doing the webinar. Okay, I'll leave it to you.
No, I highly recommend giving Lee's service a try. He happens to be an expert at trading these news reports. He's been doing it longer than you can imagine. And if anybody's an expert at it, it's absolutely Lee Goldstein. And he's really an honest, extremely likable, and he's extremely talented at trading the news.